The Gerber Pack Hatchet has been in my Amazon wish list for a really long time. I saw it, I really liked the design, kind of put it to the side and said I'll get to it at some point. We've reached that point. As a lover of work axes that can be thrown, I thought this would make a really good flyer just from the design, and it's gotten really good reviews being a multi-purpose tool. As you guys know, I like axes that are used as multi-purpose tools. Whether it be chopping, carving, and throwing, all three or just two, as long as throwing's in there, I'm good. And I'm interested. Could this do both? Could it be used as a bushcraft, campsite axe, hatchet, and then could you step back and throw it? And would it throw fairly well? I don't know. That's why we're going to do this video and find out. So let's get into the Gerber Pack Hatchet. So getting into this Gerber Pack Hatchet, just a few things that I noticed. Number one, the first thing that I noticed when I pulled it out of the packaging was that this thing has a full tang. And what I mean by tang, guys, I know some of you know this, but some don't. Usually on all steel axes, they'll do one of two things. They'll either stop the steel here and then run the handle the rest of the way down. So basically your steel stops here. Or if you see an axe or a hatchet online that is of all steel construction that says full tang, basically what it means is that the steel runs all the way down to the bottom of the knob and the handle, okay? This one does have a full tang. As you can see here, it protrudes down here at the bottom. I do like that because this handle here is a polymer style construction with an overmold type of rubber, hard rubber on the back and front. The steel ferrule comes all the way down and protrudes out. So guess what? If you get knob strikes, you don't have to worry about your polymer splitting and cracking. The steel ferrule is going to take all the abuse. So I did like that. I do like the fact that it's got some finger grooves right here up at the top, so you can place your hand in if you needed to do some carving work or some detailed, little slices here and there, which is really cool. I do like the over molded grips. These things are rubber, guys, but I will tell you they are really hard, okay? They're not going to be flimsy. I don't think they're going to break very easily just from putting it in my hand and kind of doing a fingernail test. And these things are really hard, okay? You do have a lanyard hold down here at the bottom, but I will say that looking at this thing, I am a little concerned with how far it sticks up for axe throwing, but I'm probably going to be able to work around it. We'll see, okay? The actual steel itself is a stainless steel, and it does have a black oxide coating on it to prevent it from rusting, which I do like. This thing is really sharp out of the box. It really is. I could get it a tad bit sharper, but it's really good, okay? The cheeks on it are very thin, and kind of looking down at the bit here, it's nice and straight. It's not wavy at all. However, I will say it's a little off, meaning if you want to get a square bit, it's kind of like this. This bit is more like this, okay? So this side has been ground down a little bit more, where this has more of a degree out. So it's kind of sitting like this. However, you could still use it that way. But if you were a stickler, especially for axe throwing, you could use this way. But if you were a stickler, you could go back and reform that edge and get it more of a straight degree on each side, okay? But all in all, not bad. I could definitely use this, and I could definitely use it for axe throwing. Before we get into the specs, let me introduce myself. My name's Wes, the Suburban Viking. Of course, we got Dave here with us, and we are Midgard Axe. So let's get into the specs on things here. Okay, so I weighed this thing in on my scale, and it came in at 1 pound and 1 ounce. Okay, so it's not very heavy at all. The length is coming in at exactly 9 inches. The head length from the pole to the bit is coming in at 5 1/4 inches, and the bit itself is measuring in at 3 1/2 inches. So this head is pretty big for this size handle, and you get a nice 3 1/2 inch bit with this tiny little handle. Doing a little bit of a weight distribution test on this, like I like doing. Ho-ho! An all steel axe with a head heavy bit. Now guys, I will tell you the reason why is because the handle's so short. However, I think this thing is gonna fly really well. I'm just making an early prediction. As you guys can see, I haven't thrown this thing at all. I haven't touched it. except to take it out of the package. I haven't thrown it, I haven't done anything with it, so I'm interested, but I'm making an early prediction. Because of that head heavy weight, I think this thing's gonna throw really well. It feels really good in the hand. Holding this grip in my hand feels really good too. It's nice and oval shaped here, and it's not too big and it's not too thin. As you can see here, it's almost exactly where I want my handle to be at as far as the thickness goes. And the design in which they made the handle feels really good too with those over molded grips. So I'm actually really excited. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I'm actually pretty stoked to throw this thing. Stoked. I don't know if you guys have heard that word in a long time. We used to say it all the time back in the day. We're excited, but I'm pretty excited about throwing it. We live on the East Coast here near the beach. That's what we say, stoked. Okay, so this thing coming in at 9 inches, we're gonna get pretty close for a single rotation. I will say I'm gonna try to put it in my hand like I normally do with all my axes here and see if I have to adjust my grip. We'll see how that lanyard hole here sticking up so high at the bottom of the knob, how it feels coming out of the hand. So let's try it out, see what it does. So after the first throw, what I noticed? Okay, so this thing down here at the bottom is impeding my throw. It really is. When I put it in my hand normally and threw it, it just ran across my hand. It's sticking up too high. So I'm gonna have to do what I always do when I get axes or hatchets like this. I'm gonna have to come down a little bit, and instead of putting it here, I'm gonna put it right here and rest it between these two fingers and these two fingers like this. That way I can kind of flick it out and get a better throw. So let's throw it again and see if it changes how it feels coming out of the hand. Feels really good like that. I'm just over rotating it a little bit. I need to work with it a little bit. I need to move a little bit closer. All right, so let's try it again, but we'll get really close this time. There we go, there we go. Man, that thing feels really good out of the hand. I will say that that thing is pretty hardcore down there at the bottom, the lanyard hole that sticks up. Even putting it up here and choking up, guys, I can still feel that thing smashing against my finger. So I don't know, I might have to grind it down. We'll see. I'm gonna keep trying to throw it and see how it feels, but I'm not liking that lanyard hole. And to be honest with you, I normally don't use lanyards in axes anyway. I'll usually put them in their sheaths or put them on some type of like clip or sheath that hangs from my belt, or I'll hold it. So let me just throw it a few more times and see if that thing keeps annoying me. If it does, I might have to shave it down. Let's give it another one. Feels good out of the hand, other than that lanyard hole. It feels like it's flying pretty well at a single rotation. I'm not gonna figure out if that thing flies really well until I get back farther. I'm standing really close for a single rotation, but all in all, it's sinking really deep. Those cheeks are really thin, all the way back down to the back of the pole, guys. I mean, you got the same distance. Let me go grab it really quick. As you can see here, as you can see, guys, the cheeks are the same size going all the way back to the poles, which is really cool. So when that thing hits, it's sinking really deep. It looks like it's sinking about to here at a single rotation. So I'm thinking that maybe when I get back to double and triple, it'll probably sink further. So let's give it another throw, see how it feels. Yeah, that thing is super accurate for a single rotation. That's only like my 5th or 6th throw. But it's feeling really good. I'm getting warmed up. By the time I get back to double and triple rotations, I should be warmed up, and I should be able to throw that thing really well. But so far, it's feeling good from right here. What might help with that lanyard hole down there at the bottom is kind of just rounding this thing over. It does have some straight edges, as you can see here, guys. It's got some straight edges right there on this side and this side, so it's kind of hitting. I bet if I took my Dremel and rounded it over, it'd probably feel a little bit better out of the hand and not drag on that finger, because it's like biting me each time I throw it. All right, guys, so I took the Dremel of this thing, I knocked it down, and I rounded the edge over right here. So let's throw it now and see how it feels. Oh, that's way better, way better. I kept my lanyard hole. I just brought the top of it down so it's not as high, and I rounded that edge over that was closest to my finger, which was closest to the axe head. I rounded it over because it was kind of at a sharp, steep point. Now it's rounded over and I can deal with that lanyard hole, and I kept it. So if you're interested in using this thing as a throwing axe, you can always just round that lanyard hole over, keep it, and you can use it as a throwing axe, and you can keep your lanyard hole. Cool, 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 cool. Let's get a little crazy with this thing. What do you say? Why not? I found that I can be at my best when I'm throwing a little crazy, guys. Let's give it a no-looker here. boom, right in the middle. That thing's gonna fly really well. Wanna take it back? Let's take it back. Let's take it back, double, triple, quadruples in the front. Let's just throw this thing crazy, why not? All right, so we've moved just a few steps back to do double rotations. Let's see how this thing flies from back here. It's very precise and pinpoint when you release it. I do like it. You could be really accurate with this thing if you wanted to be. It's flying really well since I've adjusted that lanyard hold down at the bottom and kind of smoothed it over. I'm getting a nice transition out of the hand, and it's flying just as good, if not a little bit better at doubles than it was at singles. Let's give the old no looker. That's pretty fun. Take that. Man, I could do some crazy stuff with that thing. It feels really good. Even doing trick throws and maneuvering the axe in the air. It's holding its weight in the air when you throw it up really good too. It's not wobbling, so really good. I did predict this thing was gonna fly really well, and I think when we get back farther and farther, hopefully we can get it done before the sun sets, it's gonna fly really good for distance because of the all steel axe and because the bit is heavy. It's falling, you know, towards the axe head when I do my weight test. Those are my favorite axes to throw, so I'm interested to get back farther. So let's just go back. I'm not gonna triple and all that. Let's just go all the way back there, really far, throw it, see what it feels like. So we brought it all the way back to 6 rotations. 6 rotations is where we're gonna start at from back here. It's normally, this is normally a triple rotation with a longer hatchet, but back here, guys, this is 6 rotations. I'll take that one. That was a good throw. Felt really good all the way back here at 6 rotations. Flying about the same. The pack hatchet that packs a punch. So I ran out of light and I was gonna Dremel the edge down and smooth it over, which I did, and I still didn't like it. So here's what I did. I took the lanyard hole and filled it with epoxy, let it dry, and then I cut it off so it filled in that hole. And after I did that, guys, this thing was a little beast throwing it. This thing was awesome. As you saw, I went back 5, 6 rotations. What a great flying little pack hatchet. This thing held up really well. It flew really well in the air. If you want to stand up close and throw it hard, you can. You can go back for distance. You're going to get a very accurate throw. And once I took that lanyard off, guys, the lanyard hole off, this thing was releasing smooth as butter out of my hand, even with these rubber grips. Now, getting into the rubber grips, these things held up really nice. As you can see here, I've got a little bit of notches taken out, a little bit of rubber peeling off, but I will tell you most of that's from me hitting this target right here, and it's kind of concave. So when I'd hit the edge of the bullseye going in, the wood would scrape up against it. But for it being hard rubber, it's held up really nice. So if you don't plan on throwing it, you just plan on kind of grabbing it and chopping with it, I think this rubber would work out really well for you. I really do. I'm not just saying that, guys. This thing was awesome. I prefer this over the CRKT Jenny Wren, and it's half the price. The edge, guys, check out this edge. It's just as sharp as it was when I first started throwing it. I got 2 days of throwing with this thing. I think the money's here. I really do. I think for the price, it's here. I give it 2 thumbs up. If you want to buy it, get it. It holds up. It really does. I threw this thing hard too, and it held up. Rubber held up. The bit held up. I got nothing going on. And remember, guys, you got a steel ferrule down here at the bottom for knob strikes. You're not going to tear your polymer up with knob strikes. So check it out. But until next time, see ya. Man, that thing flies really well. That thing flies really well, guys. Get you one. Not very expensive either, like 50 bucks. I think it's totally worth it. Come back, watch more videos of mine. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Go back and watch some of my older stuff. I got some really cool stuff in the works. So me and Dave are gonna get out of here. See you guys. Thanks for all your support. Ever since I started this channel, which hasn't been that long, guys, I've had a really good time throwing these axes and hatchets. And I'm starting to find that I'm really enjoying these little pack hatchets, these little bushcraft style hatchets for axe throwing. Most of the time you have to modify them a little bit, but once you do, man, these things just fly really well. They just do, and they don't tear your arm up. So older people like me or younger people, because they're so light, you know, compared to a regular hatchet or axe, can throw them all day and your arm's not gonna hurt at the end of the day. They're just really great, guys. Check them out. Check those things out. They're really fun. Most people don't consider them for axe throwing. They're like, oh, those are bushcraft axes or those are chopping axes. You can't use those for axe throwing. I don't know how many times I hear that, especially on TikTok. I can keep making these videos if you'd like, showing that you can throw all these axes and they actually work. Yes, you can throw any axe. Of course you can throw any axe. But I'm showing you guys that axes that aren't designed for axe throwing can be thrown almost as good, if not better, than most throwing axes. It's truth, and I prove it. See you guys.